Agreed to, and I give the call to the member for Grey.
Thank you, Speaker. We're here talking about Labor's motion, the Better and Fairer Schools Agreement. Well, I think it should be called the Better and Fairer Schools Agreement for our cities. Because as the member for Monash rightly pointed out earlier, your postcode does impact your education outcomes, and that's felt no more in country and outback South Australia. Speaker, in the electorate of Grey, I have the most primary, middle and senior schools in the entire country, 146 schools to be exact. And I'd like to thank the hundreds of teachers and community volunteers that support those schools each and every day. The school isn't just the teachers and the students that make it, it's the bus driver, it's those that run the canteen, it's those that take the kids to sports games on the weekend. So thank you to all that you do for your local communities. But Speaker, there's also a huge gap in early childhood education in the regions. Again, the electorate of Grey has the worst access to childcare in the entire country. We are 150 out of 150. Around only 2/3 of families have access to early childhood education, to childcare. And the reality is, with Labor's inflation-driven cost of living crisis, you need two incomes to raise a family. And so if you're in a small town and you're a small business owner and you're trying to grow your business, it is very difficult, near on impossible, to attract young people to your community. Indeed, young people leave because there is no access to childcare and it forces a parent to stay at home. And same with tertiary education, Speaker. If you want to be a doctor, if you want to be an engineer, if you want to do anything other than nursing, you've got to go to Adelaide. We have one brilliant tertiary site in Whyalla, in the electorate of Grey, but of course Whyalla is a 5-hour drive from Ceduna. It's a 6-hour drive from Cooper Pedy. Again, you've got to go to Adelaide for an education, and that's why Grey has the 4th lowest tertiary education outcomes in the entire country. Back to childcare, Speaker. You might not know that it's a state election in South Australia, and the Premier Malinowski, so I should call the Mayor of Adelaide, because of course if you do live outside of Adelaide, you appreciate you live in the state of Adelaide, not the state of South Australia. We have the worst access to childcare, and he's been out spruiking new centres. Well, fantastic if you live in Kadina, Corn or Kimber, making some re-announcements of some childcare centres. But what about those in Port Broughton, Crystal Brook, Tumby Bay, Cummins, Woodner, Wilmington? There's so many communities in the electorate of Grey that are gaps in childcare. I'd like to thank the Childcare Desert Advocacy Project and the 23 councils that are advocating for early childhood education in your communities. Speaker, regional families in my electorate are being absolutely crushed by this Labor government's cost of living crisis. And Speaker, the financial pain isn't just limited to power bills, grocery bills, health costs and insurance premiums. The pain is being felt in the education of our children, from our littlest learners right through to our school leavers. Speaker, the lack of support for our regional independent schools is tangible. These are not elite institutions. They are vital community hubs serving the bush. Yet under this government, they are forced to pass on soaring costs. While inflation sits at about 3.8%, non-government schools have surged by 5.4%. Why? Because unlike government schools, where taxpayers absorb the blow, independent schools must survive the market. When energy prices skyrocket, when insurance premiums rise, and when this government piles on red tape, these schools have no choice but to ask families to pay more, and parents are ultimately paying the price for Labor's inflation. Families in regional Australia are making immense sacrifices to educate their children, yet they are being punished by a government that offers no transparency or relief. A 2022 Mitchell Institute study confirmed this, causing parents to leave the workforce and there is regional staff shortages. Beyond this, fresh analysis from the Parliamentary Library paints a devastating picture. In September 2025, over 3,624 childcare services were charged above the fee cap. That is almost double the 1,889 services we saw in June 2022. The government's hourly rate cap sits at $14.63, yet more than 37% of services are forced to charge more. And that'll do, Speaker.
And I thank the member